In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a bit of an obscure way that you can improve your photography framing all inside camera before we get to post-production. Now, it is a little bit of a weird way, I must admit, but if you know me and my channel, I love little photography challenges and exercises that can break up your normal everyday photography and help aid your photographic eye in the long run. So having said that, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's photo session, I'm heading into a small little village called Warkworth in Northumberland. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's probably best known for its medieval castle that sits above the village and kind of looks over it. It's a small area, but we'll see what we can come up with. As always, I'll talk through the photos as I take them, but we'll get into this sort of little technique or exercise, if you will, that you can use to improve your photography framing. I think it's good anyway. It's definitely worth sharing. I'm basically just waiting for a car not to be in the archway down there for this photograph. There we go. A little bit of the church there as well, which is pretty nice. Oh, dog walker. Nice. Let's wait actually and see if any more people pop out from this archway. That would be pretty awesome. Now, you may notice as I take the first photo for the day on this photo session that I'm shooting in 1:1 aspect ratio straight out of the camera. What I see on the LCD and through my viewfinder is in 1:1 format already. Kind of like this, but maybe later on we get someone walking through the frame. This scene here is really cute with the cottage door there. If we crop about here, rest of the image down here is quite dark, which I like because it adds that bit of sort of secrecy, if you will, to the frame. Even looking back in the other direction that I've just come from is quite nice, especially with if I'm underexposing quite a lot, underexposing by like 2 stops. Make everything on the outskirts of the frame look quite dark. So how and why does photographing in 1:1 inside of your camera, which might seem a bit bonkers, help aid your photography framing? Well, less is often more when it comes to photography and stuff, random distractions, objects that tend to find themselves in the corners of your frames when you're taking photographs. Now, obviously, I'm not suggesting shooting in 1:1 just to have an easier job at cutting out all the distracting elements of your frame. But what it will do if you give this a go on a photo outing is show you how little you actually need inside of a photograph to take an image that says everything it needs to say and slaps you straight in the face with the subject matter and the point of the image. So let's think of it a bit like drawing a picture. If you were given an A4 piece of paper right now and you were told to draw a picture, you would probably start off with a small portion, right? And then you would build upon it until you filled the entire A4 piece of paper. The same goes for if you're struggling with your photography framing. Maybe you're finding that they just look messy, or you're not quite sure where to position your subject at the moment, or you're struggling with where to cut off your frame at the sides or the top and the bottom. Starting off smaller in a 1:1 format can really teach you how little you need in a scene and how to frame up scenes before you then unleash that full aspect ratio on your camera. We're kind of almost spoiled with big aspect ratios and wide angle lenses because when we're walking around, we can point our camera at our subject, take a photo and not give it too much conscious thought and then just crop it later in post to where we think is most pleasing. But that way of shooting is not going to teach you how to frame up an image properly in camera before you get to cropping in post. Now, there's obviously nothing wrong with doing most of your cropping in post, but it's going to aid you a lot more in your photography journey if you can frame up a beautiful image inside of your camera without just aiming your camera at your subject and deciding, I don't really know what I want, so I'm going to shoot it as wide as possible and then I'll sort it out later down the line. This is cool. Hello, buddy. Nice. What about you? Hi. Probably the most random thing for me to be taking a photograph of, a basketball net that's all rusted, but gives me a bit of that nostalgia hit that we all look for. God, if you scored a goal here, it's going to go straight over the bank. But you know what? It's quite a cool frame, to be honest. Now, another sort of comparison I like to think about with this 1x1 framing technique is the gym. Now, hear me out, because I know photography and the gym don't really go hand in hand, but let's say you're in the gym and you're doing squats and you're lifting 200 kilograms. Not me, but let's say you are. You're lifting 200 kilograms and you do it week in, week out. But then a couple of weeks in, you can't lift 200 kilograms anymore. So you try again and you can't lift it again. And what you're going to do is you're probably going to think, right, I need to take a step back and I'm going to take 10 kilograms off the weight either side. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to lift that weight. That's what I like to think of with this 1x1 shooting format. It's like, just dial it back a little bit, just for a moment. Take some simpler, easier photos that are nice and pleasing to the eye, give you a little bit of a confidence boost. And then you can jump back in with that full aspect ratio and go crazy with a little bit more knowledge under your belt. Did that make sense, or was that just pure waffle? Probably waffle. Gym lifters, drop a comment. I really like this side of the church here because we've got these branches that frame the top of it. So getting down really low, I'm basically kneeled down. I can have them just above the top of the church and add a little bit of sort of cover to the top of the sky, shall we say, as the sky is, you know, not all that interesting, just a bog standard sky really, isn't it? I like how you can see the castle down this road here, but this car on the pavement. This is without a doubt one of the coolest places I've been recently in the last few months. AD 179. This place is ancient, man. Look at this. I guess let's see if we can get some photos. Now I will say as well, I know this video is about shooting in 1x1 as a little technique to take a step back and try and improve your photography framing by dumbing it down a little bit and making it a little bit less overwhelming. But shooting in 1x1 is pretty fun. It's pretty visually pleasing. I personally like a good square photograph. I know a lot of people don't, but you know, give it a go. You might find that you take some really beautiful photos in 1x1. Whenever I do this, I always do. Now, obviously, there's absolutely loads of scenes in the world out there that benefit from that big wide field of view and having loads of elements in there, especially in landscape photography when you've got super interesting foreground, midground, and background. But even then, you need to make sure you haven't got distractions, you haven't got silly elements in the frame that are cluttering it up. And I'm definitely not recommending shooting in 1x1 forever as a photographic choice, because it's a little bit easier and a little bit more simple, because you do automatically cut out most of the frame because of that 1x1 crop. But if you are currently struggling with your photography framing and feeling like your images are a little bit cluttered, then definitely give this a go, even just for a day when you're out taking photos. And I think you'll be, like I've said before, pleasantly surprised about how little you need in a frame. And it should also hopefully make you think twice when you're out back with those full aspect ratios. With that being said, I made a video last week about the 3 camera modes and 2 custom modes that I use most across all of my cameras. Well, apart from film cameras, I guess, because they don't have custom modes. But if that interests you and you would like to know how to better set up your camera to prepare you for all of your photographic situations, then check out this video here next. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.